Hello, everyone. Welcome back after a little break, and welcome back, Nancy, whose shirt says "Eating animals is weird." I would certainly agree with that, and even have stronger language for it. Anyway, so let's give you a recap. So I'm going to give you a recap, just starting from the high level, big picture, and then zeroing in. Big picture. There is a big missing conversation from the zoomosphere of conversations in the world today, and it is this: how do we save life on Earth? How do we save life on Earth? Just full stop or full question mark. And we call that the conversation. So when we say the conversation, that's what we're referring to.
Well, I know one way I can think of that's already started happening.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody stays home.
Wait. And so everybody stays home. I got that. But you said that's an example of what?
Oh, how to save the planet.
Well, yeah.
I mean, obviously it can't go on for too long, but it'd be nice if we could somehow integrate some of this, with
You went on mute for the last half of the sentence.
It'd be nice if we could, maintain something of this into what we would consider normal, because normal is what got us into this mess in the first place.
Yep, exactly. So let me share with you that, so out of the conversation is had with a view to generating basically answers to the conversation, how to save life on Earth. So for example, one possible answer could be the Green New Deal. I don't happen to believe that that would do it, but they might believe that that would do it, the authors of the Green New Deal. I'm going to give, so, but and the answers to that question can come in different forms. There's one form that I'm particularly most interested in, and that's a term I've coined called hypersolution. So what is a hypersolution? The definition of a hypersolution is an entire set of solutions complete with a strategy for implementation. Some solutions in parallel, others sequential, right? But a strategy that governs the when and how and in what sequence to implement these solutions. And the how is, of course, very important. And in such a way that you solve the biggest, most critical of our world problems, right? With exponential planetary overheating leading the pack, followed by, your usual suspects: hunger and malnutrition, destruction of the biosphere, sixth mass extinction, pandemics, on and on and on. Okay, so and with that, I'll shift gears, and instead of talking more about hyper solutions in the general, I will get specific and tell you, Nancy, my favorite hyper solution. And so this hyper solution is called Operation Stone Soup, and it has three major phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1 is feed everyone. Phase 2 is go collectively super intelligent as a species. Phase 3, cool the planet through SRM, planetary scale SRM. And to go into a little more detail, we start by building a community of communities, and the communities that will be members of this group of communities or community of communities, the communities will be what we call feeder communities. What is a feeder community? Like the name sounds, it's a community that feeds people. Could be a big feeder community like the Hare Krishnas. Could be just one person feeding their neighbors, right? So it could be large or small or anything in between. And we have the idea that if we create a community of feeder communities, a planetary network of feeder communities, all interconnected and sharing best practices, sharing ideas, sharing solutions, sharing expertise, consulting, right? And everything from, which types of, vegetables and fruits to grow and which combinations of climates and soil types and etc. All the way to, big sort of like socioeconomic questions like, under what framework, under what mode of production and distribution in economic speak do we do this? Is it based on a monetary system? Is it a gift economy? Is it a reputation economy? An economy of generosity where you kind of earn social points by being generous? Do people live in communes? Is Nancy a communist? All these questions. Anyway, so we start with creating, a network of these feeder communities, and then over time, we figure out a bunch of stuff, right? Including what are the very best models, right? Both socioeconomic models as well as, the best growing models, whether greenhouse or open field or permaculture or vertical farms or whatever. That's very much a function of local specifics, right? Specific local conditions. But then, socioeconomic models, there might be, one model that works great in Latin America, another one that works great in East Asia, and the two are totally different from each other for all these reasons, and a third that works great in India, but nowhere else, et cetera, et cetera. So, while on the one hand, culture is super important, on the other hand, it almost feels like we're at a point where humanity needs to snap to a whole new culture in order to survive. And anyway, beyond sharing all these best practices and ideas and solutions and all that, at an even higher planetary level, this network of feeder communities can evolve into a collective superintelligence, as we've talked about previously. And that's super exciting for many reasons. Among them, we need collective superintelligence right now in order to do SRM at the scale we need and in the time that we need. I mean, this planetary scale SRM stuff, under normal circumstances, would probably be something like maybe a 10-year project, right? And we need to pull it off in something like 5 months. I mean, we got our backs against the wall. And we either do this or we don't. And if we don't, the consequences are going to be pretty severe. I think that's pretty clear. And if we do this, it's going to be the greatest and most positive transformation in the history of humanity that will really take us to become a whole new species from caterpillar to butterfly. In our case, from a species of 8 billion individuals to a species of one colony, one human colony, working together in amazing harmony.
Well, like you said, we have to get our skates on, because our backs aren't just up against the wall. Or the firing squad is lining up and all at this stage. Like, you know what I mean? When you think of the time scale and you think of the, you know, what needs to be done on a global scale, like, I know it sounds almost impossible. It's not impossible. There's no such thing as impossible. Thanks be to God, my father and mother always taught us that nothing's impossible. If you put your mind to it, you can sort it out. But that's it. Like, we just need to I think the urgency is getting more people there. Like, let's get the collective built as fast as possible. So the food plan is the way to go.
Yep. Yeah, you know, if you think about it from a standpoint of collective super intelligence, that alone feels like a pretty substantial task, mainly in the kind of chicken and egg of, you know, getting people together, right, to do the collective superintelligence in an organized way. How do you get them to do that before you can show them, you know, a really positive case for why they should join, right? It's more like, hey, we need thousands of people to join just on faith. Well, with the food project, we've not completely, but we've kind of taken collective superintelligence out of it for the moment and said, hey, everybody, let's get together and do this food thing. You know, I can imagine billions of people getting together and getting excited about that. But when I say, hey, let's get together and do collective superintelligence, you know, a couple dozen nerds show up, right? And I'm a nerd. I got nothing against nerds, and it's cool, but we need bigger numbers. And so I think the food thing is the way to get the big numbers of people engaged, and then collective intelligence will, number one, it'll be just emergent out of so many conversations happening, and just the natural affinity of feeders coming together around something that they're all passionate about. You know, it's like when you put a bunch of vegans together, they have a blast. Well, if you put a bunch of feeders together, hopefully they'll have a blast too. And so
I think that would make a good meme, actually.
What's that?
Where are all them nerds when you need them? Be a good meme.
Yeah. Well, we need all the everybody's, and but you see, building a collective superintelligence around food, do you see how that's just like a very natural thing, you know, topic space to build a collective superintelligence around, right? Because it's something that's just so visceral to us, so well known by us, you know, as opposed to like SRM. We don't know SRM. Come on, right? Especially something as crazy as ocean-based SRM. We don't know that, but we do know crops. We do know fruit trees. You know, we do know cooking. We do know how to put up food, et cetera, et cetera.
A lot of us do know hunger, and many of us will start to learn that lesson soon, if you know what I mean. So that's why it'll become the priority for everyone, and everyone will focus on the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but again, we've got the conversation, how to save life on Earth. And then we have our favorite hyper solution, OSS, Operation Stone Soup, which starts with ending hunger and then goes from there. right? So in in essence, you could say that we're operating primarily at this moment in time right now, we're operating primarily on two different levels, the conversation and Operation Stone Soup as our favorite hyper solution, right? We want to foster the conversation because the conversation is just a really good way of people kind of, revealing where they're at to themselves and to whoever they're talking to, and if it's being recorded, etc. It's just, they get to reveal where they're at in terms of what they think about the world's problems and solutions and possibility and all that. We've answered it in a way that focuses on the problems that we see as most urgent. That's natural. Other people will do the same thing and will come out with different hyper solutions, right? And it'll be just very interesting. May the best hyper solution win. May it win first the popularity contest so that humanity can basically say, okay, consensus says we do this. Even if you don't agree, please participate, right? Hmm. But anyway, these food networks, I mean, plants are are natural. They're just a part of nature. We're a part of nature. And so it just seems like such a natural topic space out of which to evolve CSI, collective superintelligence, because it's so natural and it's so well known by us, right? So it's actually just a great opportunity. It's kind of a, COVID, Dos Equis has been, such a tragedy, but for collective superintelligence, it may be a positive perfect storm because it's now teeing us all up to focus on feeding everyone. And what perfect training wheels for CSI than getting so many people pouring in to collaborate on this, on feeding everyone. And so we exponentially grow CSI all through the feeding everyone phase of history. And then we have a really powerful CSI that we can train on SRM. And we just do SRM in record time. Or in a previously unimaginably short period of time. This is all within our grasp. So, let's now take it back to what we were talking about earlier about how to market this to the world. What do we put on the website? Hello world, we are food healers, and we have a vision for a world in which there's abundant food for everyone. And a world in which humanity is cooperating to ensure that everyone is well all around the world. And we reach a level of unity and integration and community and connection and a shared responsibility for everyone. And all of that, basically a whole new paradigm, a whole new butterfly paradigm that's to many people seem impossible today. Impossible to achieve from today's lens, even looking forward. They may say, no, that'll never work. Right? Because it's so different from what we're used to. You know what it feels like to me right now, you guys? It feels like to me that I'm in the airport, right at the gate, just about to get on the plane to cross the Atlantic. It doesn't matter in what direction. And I'm hugging, relatives goodbye who I may not see again. That's how it feels to me. Right? It feels like the letting go of the old world is happening so fast right now. And the Dos Equis shakeup has just leveled the house of cards, thrown all the cards in the air. They're all tumbling over end in slow motion. And now is the perfect opportunity to remake the stack, to remake whatever we're going to remake out of it. You see, isn't it just so perfect? It's just created this perfect context. Welcome back. So, welcome back. So again, back to the two levels at which we're having conversation now, or we're working. The conversation and OSS, our favorite hyper solution, in answer to the conversation. The conversation, how to save life on Earth. OSS, our favorite hyper solution, answer to the conversation.
Well, the birds are chirping by you as the sun is setting, I think, Jamen, and they're chirping by me as it's rising. So I'm going to go up there now and put my head down for a while. I'll be still listening, but so I just won't be probably responding too much because I'll be
Sure. Totally cool, James brother. Get some good sleep, and maybe we'll.
Yeah, I did it again last week.
Mm-hmm.
I did it again last week, and I stayed up too late, and I never woke up. So I get a few hours now.
That's right. Yeah. No worries. Well, anyway, the main thing is get good sleep. If you sleep long and hard, sleep long and hard. No worries. We'll catch you on Tuesday in that case. Otherwise, I'll see you in a few hours.
All right, no bother. Talk to you all later, guys.
All right, James. Thanks so much.
Thank
you. See you soon. All right, and in about 15 or 20 minutes or so, when Nolan takes over for me, I will take my 5-hour break. Thank you, Nolan, for doing that. Man, that just makes all the difference. This is block party number 15. Isn't it bizarre?
Are you still doing collective intelligence on Tuesdays?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I've seen emails for that. I've seen something else on Tuesdays. So I thought maybe to switch.
Hey, listen, Nancy, why don't you give me your email address and I'll put you on the mailing list so that you get all these emails.
Okay. I'll
You put it in the chat if you want.
I have your email. I can just reply. But I had been getting them before, I thought, or maybe I'm missing them. I'll go ahead and send you mine. I have your email, so I'll send you.
Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah, I send out an email. Here, let me just tell Melissa something real quick. Fairy's coming. It looks beautiful if you want to see the fairy. Yeah, I sent out an email the night before each of those meetings. The block party, I send it out Thursday night. And for the Solution Club, I send it Monday night. So yeah, we meet for 8 hours on Tuesday and 24 hours on Friday, Saturday. So that's 32 hours a week.
Oh, that's a different one than you had started, I think. The one that you had started before was like at 6 or 8 o'clock on Tuesday nights, and it was a couple of hours.
Oh, yeah. That's Vegan Collective Intelligence. So what's happened is we've now moved the Vegan Collective Intelligence meeting into the last 2 hours of the Solution Club. So those two meetings have effectively merged. So starting at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is 8 p.m. Eastern time, that's when we start the Vegan Collective Intelligence portion of the meeting, right? That's when we start that portion of the meeting. And
okay, so then I'm getting those emails, and now that I know that, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, I'm going to check out what So has put in her picture there. Hush. In the temple of meat, the food had feet. We all felt raw and closed the door. Hush. Yeah, as if don't say anything. Nolan, welcome.
Hey.
Haircut.
How's the block party been?
It's been good. It's been really good. It's recently slowed down a little bit. Number of faces on the screen, but don't be fooled. Some are asleep, others are dozing off. Here, I'm just gonna pause recording for a second.